So let's get Jimmy on the air here. He's got an awesome testimony he wants to share with y'all. And so, how you doing, Jimmy?
Man, I'm doing great. How you doing, Jared?
Man, I'm doing dang near skippy. Can't be no better.
I hear you.
When you're doing dang near skippy, you know you're doing good. That means God's on your side.
Yes, sir. No doubt. No doubt.
Well, I am super glad you called in.
Yeah, man. I wish I could have done it last week, but we had all kind of stuff going on here.
That's okay. I do it every Thursday at 7, so.
I got you. But a little bit about myself is, man, I've been drug-free for about right at 6 years now. And it was through the grace of God that I got drug-free. I've been in and out of jail my whole life, you know, just been a rascal, you know, pretty much. And then, man, I got sent to jail the last time about 7 years ago, and I got offered some help through a Christian regeneration program, and I took it, and man, it changed my life. I had lost everything I had, my kids, my family. Nobody wanted anything to do with me. It was just a very horrible time in my life, and then I found God, and I'm living testimony that Jesus is alive today.
Wow, that is awesome. That is awesome. So, what's the name of the program you went to?
It's called The Farm, F-A-R-M. It's in Bonifay, Florida.
Awesome. I'm sure they got a Facebook and a website if somebody wants to go check them out.
Absolutely. If you know anybody that needs help or wants to get help, I mean, they're absolutely the place to be, and if they don't have room for you, they can definitely find you somewhere to go.
Wow, that is awesome because, you know, it's 2024, and I see all kind of stuff. Like, I meet all kind of people where I work at. I work at a Mack truck dealership, and I see all kinds of log truck drivers, just truck drivers in general, come in and out. And you never know what somebody's going through or what they're struggling with. And then, like a lot of these Christian artists I listen to, like, for instance, one of the guys I was playing on the show, his name is ASAP Preach. He's a Christian rapper I listen to, huge fan. His name is Ian, shoot, I forgot his last name. But anyways, he just released a documentary on his testimony, and he was a drug addict. And I met him a few weeks ago at a show, and he was the most nicest guy ever. And I watched his documentary about how he struggled with drugs and then selling drugs and stuff, and then how finally one day God just slapped him in the face and woke him up, and he's been doing Christian rap music ever since and been glorifying God. And I'm like, wow. So it just goes to show you that people go through all kind of stuff, and you know, God's there for you no matter what you go through. You just got to learn to trust and give it to Him.
That's right. You got to give it to Him.
Because, I mean, it's not like, okay. So here's something that happened at work the other day. I had a truck driver come up, and so we're a Mack dealership, so we service all kind of Macks, and then Volvo owns Macks, so we service Volvos too, and any brand really. And so we had a guy come up in a Volvo, and I don't remember his name, but he had it was a brand new Volvo, it looked like, and he worked for a recycling company. And down, not even 5 miles down the road is where the big International Paper Mill is. And International Paper Mill up there, they service the whole entire county because they got hundreds and thousands of jobs there. And so he made his delivery, and he stopped by our work up there because he had a problem with his truck. And then so I walked out of the bathroom, and I seen his truck up there, and I seen my buddy Robert talking to the guy. I said, you know what? I said, I think God's telling me to go talk to this guy. And so I walked over there, and I got these little pocket crosses that I hand out to people And then on the back of the card, it says the cross in my pocket is the name of it, and it tells you about the cross in the pocket. Then the other side's got my ministry logo, and then it's got the Bible verse I use, Isaiah 53:5. And I went up to this guy, and I said, hey man, I said, here's your free gift. And he looks at it, and he sees a little keychain, and it says God loves you on it. And on the back, it's printed on the back in black, and it's got the verse. And he read the card, and he said, thank you, man. You have no idea what this means to me. Thank you, man. And then he started telling me, he said, well, when I was leaving the mill there, he said, I seen these two guys across the road, and looked like they were pushing a vehicle on a trailer, and looked like they needed help. So I stopped and asked them if they needed help, and I helped them push their vehicle on the trailer. He said, I stopped, and I noticed my trailer lights wasn't working. And so he said, I replaced it with a fuse. And then he said, now I'm up here, and so Robert was trying to figure out why his trailer lights were messing up on him. And so him and this guy were shaking the wires. I couldn't get it to act up. And the guy started telling me, he said, well, I'm a new Christian. And he's like, no, he told me, he said, I'm new in the faith. I got saved in 2021. He said, I was an alcoholic, and was telling me about his alcohol addiction. And was telling me how he beat it. And then he said, I told my wife recently that I was going to be a deacon in my church, and I was, going to be a deacon. And I done signed up to be a deacon, and was voted on or whatever. And he said, well, you coming up to me and then giving me this pocket cross here is confirmation that I need to be a deacon in my church. That just reaffirms what God was telling me to do. And I was like, wow, I was floored. And then so he found my ministry's Facebook. I showed him where it was, and he found it and liked it. And then he got talking some more about being a Christian and stuff. And then he said, and they never could find out what was wrong with his trailer lights. They were working perfectly. And I told him,
oh wow,
and that's amazing. And then Robert said something. Yeah, I can't find out what's wrong with your trailer lights, but here's your fuse right here. Just keep this extra fuse in case it happens again. And the guy said, I told the guy, I said, you know what? I believe God had your trailer lights mess up on purpose so you would stop by here and meet me. And I said, I really do believe that with all my heart, that God had your trailer mess up. Your trailer ain't messing up no more. And he thanked us both, and I appreciate that, brother. You have no idea what that. And then he drove off. And you just never know what somebody could be going through, and I was very fortunate that happened.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I stayed. It took me almost a year and a half, to get out of the program, and I actually stayed on with them a little over a year after I was out of the program to give back to the men because I loved it so much. I mean, I just seen so many good things happen that was undeniable, the Lord's work, and I was amazed by it. And then I met my wife shortly after that, and man, I couldn't have done it any better myself if I'd have tried. The Lord's just brought me so many blessings and so many good things. I mean, you couldn't have wrote it down in a book no better than what has happened.
Wow, that is awesome. And one thing I like about your race car, because I was telling everybody you drive the IMCA modified, I love on the very top of your car, because you drive the number 20, and on the top, it's got a big, gigantic Christian cross on the top of the car. I can't miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it says Jesus saves on it.
That is so cool. So now you with doing that, you open up a door for everybody that comes to the racetrack that sees your car. Oh wow, that makes them ask questions. And then if you get to meet them, that's even cooler because it could open the door for all kinds of questions.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And people think that the biggest thing with people that are in addiction is most of them think that they're too far gone or there's nothing they can do about it now or what. But in the Bible it says if there's life, if there's breath, there's hope, and that's the God honest truth. I mean, I got more back in the last 6 years than I've ever had in my whole life. And I'm 40 years
Wow.
old now, and I'm telling you, it's unbelievable what the Lord's done in my life. And if you go and look in my last Victory Lane picture, you'll see my family and all my friends. And, man, 6 years ago, them people wouldn't have given you 2 cents for me. I mean, they wouldn't even talk to me if I was to see them. You know, they were just so,
Wow.
you know, they just didn't want nothing to do with me. I was no good. And the short amount of time that it's took the Lord to do his work in my life, man, I've gained it all back and then some. Like, it's just been unbelievable.
Well, you know what's a lie from the pits of hell is that stupid, crafty devil down there telling people this with addiction, oh, you're too far gone, you can't be helped, or no, you too far for God, he can't do nothing for you. That's a lie from the pits of hell. Don't listen to that crap, you know.
Yeah, you can't listen to that.
Because I
was one of them, and if you would have told me, if I wouldn't have had good people behind me telling me, hey, there's hope, you know, keep pushing, I wouldn't have never made it to where I am today. I can tell you, it was definitely Christian people. I surrounded myself with great people, and I moved away from where I grew up at, and me and my wife moved here to Panama City, and it's been I go back through there to see my family, but I don't stay. I don't go in any gas stations. I just keep away from it, you know. And
yeah,
it's working, so I'm not going to change it, you know.
Heck yeah, because the devil will do anything to tempt you to go back into that lifestyle.
Absolutely.
You know, he does it all. The Bible says the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yes, sir. And he will.
And he will. And I'll say this: regardless of how hard he tries, love wins in the end, because it tells you in the Bible that God wins in the end. So I don't even know why in the world that dumb idiot downstairs is trying if he knows he's gonna lose.
Yeah, and you know what they used to tell me is, you know, if you listen to the devil, he'll carry you further than you want to go and keep you longer than you want to stay.
Exactly. And it's always good to hang around good, like-minded people, especially Christian people that have your best interest at heart. Because there's so many people you don't want to hang around because they'll just drag you down even deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I surround myself with a lot of good people. People at the racetrack are a different kind of people. You know, most of them are really good-hearted people and down-to-earth people, and we all share the same likes, and you know, and 90% of them have seen me go through it. You know, my dad, he was a race car driver. You know, he was kind of a big deal in the 90s, and you know, local racing, and you know, Shep Lucas and Jesse Barnhill and all of them. They watched me grow up at the racetrack, and they also seen what I went through. You know, I was just not very good for a long time, and man, every time I see them, they tell me how proud of me they are, and you know, they're always encouraging me, and it's just it's a great place for me to be at the racetrack on Saturday nights. You know.
Amen. And you know, Shep Lucas is somebody that I think highly of. They good Christian people, man. I love Shep Lucas and his family.
Yeah, they're good people. He's definitely been a good person to me my whole life, you know.
And I know, like, one thing I love about working at Tri-County is the Day family are Christian people, so they don't mind that I play Christian music over the radio, and they don't mind that I say Jesus and tell people about Jesus, because they got Bible verses all over their logos, all over their Facebook, the website. I mean, that is very impressive to me that they put God first in what they do, and that's how they're so successful up there and been having really good racing this year, is because they put God first.
I believe that.
And I love going there, and I'm glad we got to race this past weekend because everybody kept saying, "Oh, they're gonna rain out. They're gonna rain out." I said, "No, I'm gonna keep praying. I'm gonna keep praying. Because I'm the guy I guess you'd call the power of positivity. I'm positive about everything. I hate negative people. So I just kept praying and then of course we got rained out that Friday night, which is it's okay. The Lord, that's what He wanted. And then the next day everybody said, "Oh, they're not gonna get it in." Well, I kept looking at the radar and then I said, "Man, I don't know." And then boom, Isaiah went live on Facebook and said, "Man, we ain't rained a drop up here." I said, "Man, prayers were answered," and we got to race, and it ended up being really good. Double features and done by 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. Same thing. I had to work Friday, so I couldn't make it, but I was here getting my car ready and doing my tire work and loading everything up, and I got to call my daughter dates Bailey Bartlett, and he called me and told me that they had rained out. Come out there and told me, and I said, okay. Well, I just kept on getting it ready. She kept telling me the forecast don't look good. The forecast don't look good. I just kept on like it wasn't like there wasn't nothing in the radar. And about 12 o'clock Saturday, I loaded my car up and we came, and it was a good weekend.
I agree. Like Tri-County is one of those places, man. Like where when everybody else will rain out, but they won't, and that's amazing how the Lord works. It's whatever because. I was so thankful that nobody made like an Indian and did an Indian rain dance.
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody went out there and made like an Indian and did a reverse rain dance. That was even better.
That's right.
And well, whatever that looks like, I can imagine. I'm very thankful to whoever did that.
Yep, me too, buddy.
Yeah, it was 55. So they had 55 cars out there. 15 of y'all modified. That was nuts. I'm glad we had that many.
Yeah, man, it was a good show. I wish things would have played out a little different where I could have started a little further up front, but, that's the way it goes, and I'm proud for Larry and Bailey. They did a great job this weekend, and, it just goes like that sometimes,
So... And I tell you what, old Fred Flintstone himself, he was Flintstoning it around that racetrack. He made it look simple. He's pretty good.
He's good there. Anytime you can go outrun him up there, you've done something. That's the truth of it.
Yeah, exactly. You have done something. And, like I won't never forget, I was at Northwest Florida a few months ago, and I was videoing the features for the Southern Dirt Track Report, and I was being features, and then like it was a pure stock race, and I was like so excited, and I think T.J. Grimes may have been second. I can't remember who was second, but old Leadfoot Larry was leading, and he was leading, and then all of a sudden on the last lap he got slower, and you can hear me on my video. I get all excited. Oh my gosh, why is Larry going slow? Larry Falk wins the race, and then next thing I know, he posted on Facebook that he broke a transmission, and I told him, I said, yeah, you pretty much had to Flintstone it to the finish line at that point.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's been doing it a long time, and if you go outrun him anywhere, you've really done something. He's always real competitive anywhere he goes. He told me last time we were at Baker, he come up to me and told me, because our car was really fast, he said, you gonna slow down and let me race with you tonight? And I told him, man, I don't think so, Larry.
That's funny. Well, look,
but you can believe anytime you race with him, he don't give you nothing. That's for sure. He gonna race you with it all his heart.
That's right. He races clean and he's legal.
Yeah.
I know everybody says he's illegal. I don't think he is. I think he's legal, and he goes out there. He knows his stuff. Like there's people in a category. I've got a category of people, whether it's musicians, race car drivers, that are so good at what they do, they could do it backwards blindfolded, and I put him in that list. He could probably win the race backwards blindfolded if he thought about it.
Yeah, he's been winning races a long time.
And you're in that category too, because I've seen you win quite a few races up there, and especially at Tri-County. You won. I remember one last year that you won. I don't remember what day it was, but you won by a mile, and that was impressive to see.
Yeah, we do all right. You know, with that. So Tri-County is different than anywhere else. You can start, you know, they start you by the way that you finish a heat race, and that's the traditional way to start. But when you go to an IMCA sanctioned track, they start you by points. So the more points you have, the further back you start, and that plays into a lot of our racing. I think at Milton the other night we started 15th, and I gained 10 positions in the feature, you know, but we still run 5th. The night before that we went to Baker, and we come from 10th to 3rd, I think, or something like that. So it's really tough, you know, to do it like that. But you know, sometimes people, you know, they don't realize that, you know, you got to come a long ways, and it's got to play out just right for you to win them races. And man, when you do, it's just, you know, it's a lot of fun. You know, it makes it all worth it.
Well, it sounds like you was coming through the field like a husband taking his pregnant wife to the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah, we were taking all we could get, that's for sure.
Well, so I wish maybe one day this will be in the cards, and I know it ain't gonna happen no time soon, but I would love to see Tri-County get IMCA sanctioned. But as of right now, they're just sanctioning Deep South on 5 races, and then they're full-time sanctioned with Northwest Florida and Southern, and so they can't sanction Tri-County because they don't want to step on the other 2 tracks' toes, because I guess IMCA sees it as there's not enough cars in the area. But I'd love to eventually see that one day where they sanction all these 4 tracks around here.
So, what I pray about and I hope for, man, and I don't know if it'll ever happen because, you know, they can't hardly do it, but I pray that they'll all work together and we could race they could all get sanctioned and we could race one racetrack a week. You know, we could go to Deep South one week, Southern one week, Baker one week, Tri-County one week.
Yes. And
have a series, and, you know, and then you're not splitting up the class, see, so you don't have half of them going here and half of them going there. They would all be there, and it'd be great racing every night, you know.
Oh, I want that too. I'm dead serious. I would love to see that because I'm tired of tracks that if there's a track, let's just say, this is just in general, I'm not going to name any tracks, but just in general, these tracks that race on top of their competitor's track on purpose, that don't care about nobody else, whatever, and I'm not saying any tracks names or nothing, but, you know, I would love to see tracks work with each other, not race on top of each other. Now, of course, you're going to have, you know, some race dates where you just can't help it. You just race on top of each other. And then, of course, due to insurance regulations, you got to get in your rain-out dates when you can get them in. So there's going to be rain-out dates, you know. But I don't know. It just hurts me to see a lot of tracks that race on top of each other, especially if they know their local track has a big show that's been planning it for months. But then you all of a sudden got a big show on top of them, and, you know, it just, I don't know.
So, yeah, it does hurt them. And, you know, a lot of times, so we'll look ahead and see what's on the schedule, you know, because tracks race on top of other tracks a lot of times. But we try to look ahead and see what people's got on their schedules, and we pick and choose, you know, the bigger shows or just, you know, we try to go where everybody's going to be that weekend, you know, whether it's Tri-County or Baker or Milton,
Sure.
You know, and it works out a lot of times, but then there's sometimes, you know, we'll plan to go to Dothan, you know, and they'll be paying good money and there won't be but 4 cars there, you know what I mean? So, and the same thing's happened at Tri-County. They'll have 4 cars, they'll be paying $700 to win, and everybody will go to Milton for a $500 race, you know?
Yeah.
But if we could get them all to work together, it would pay better, you would have better paying purses, and you'd have a full field of cars every night.
Yes. Exactly. That I would love to see that so bad. You have no idea, because like that would be more money in the pockets for the drivers, plus the tracks. It looks better on the track, and it looks better on the class. Because if you got three tracks that run the same exact class, and they race on top of each other, like you said, all that does is split. And of course, you got some drivers they're only going to race just one certain track. But the ones like you and a lot of these others that like to go to different tracks, it hurts the class and makes them look bad when they got 5 cars here, 5 cars there, and not even a full field for a full payout.
Yeah, you're right. And I'll tell you, another big problem that we have with the tracks is, so I don't know. I mean, it's not picking on the tracks because it's everywhere that you look, but
yes.
So say you do go and you win a $700 race, and you won it. I mean, you put 2 tires on your car. That's $300 plus the fuel. You really ain't won nothing. And if you run second or third, the guy that runs second or third can barely put a new tire on his car to try again next week. So
that's right.
If we could get them all to work together, they could pay better at the top and pay better through the field. Man, you would have some happy race car drivers.
Yes. And one thing I do like about IMCA is my favorite class. IMCA Modifieds and the Vintage class are my 2 favorite classes out there in racing in general, out of all kind of racing I watch. And I've been watching IMCA for years, ever since 2015 was when I got into dirt track racing. So since 2015, I've been watching IMCA, and I follow them on Facebook and the website. One thing I do like about IMCA, when you become a member, like you get all these perks, like Owen Barnhill, for instance. He got a bunch of different perks, like he won Rookie of the Year for IMCA in the country. And then you get invited to the Boone Super Nationals over there in Iowa, which is a super, super awesome race. And then you got all these different perks of being a member, and I love it when tracks do the sanctioning.
Yeah, I know. They send us stuff every year, too. Last year, I think, through the points, I won, I don't know, $1,000, something like that, through the point system. And then they send you gift cards and, they send you awards. And the biggest thing that I like about IMCA is they do give back to the driver at the end of the year for you buying that sanction or the license. And they also they have an insurance policy. If you get hurt during an IMCA race, they pay part of your hospital bills. And I don't see any other sanction doing that,
Yeah, isn't it like a $50,000 life insurance policy or something like that?
It's a health insurance policy. I turned my car over a couple of years ago at Milton. I don't know if you remember or not, but I think I turned it over 6 times and just destroyed my car. But the next Monday morning, IMCA called me and made sure that I was okay, and that really impressed me. That they cared that much to call themselves and make sure that I was all right, and if there was anything I needed, or if I needed anything for the car, what could they do? And you can't. I mean, that's pretty good of them.
Wow, that is unheard of. I didn't even know that they actually call you. That's very impressive. That puts a huge check mark in my book.
Yeah, if it had been at an unsanctioned race, it wouldn't have been like that. But because we were sanctioned, we were at a sanctioned race, and we done everything right. They really do, man. I believe they give back more than any other sanction that there is, and we support it. We love it.
Well, that's cool. So I'm looking at my race pass. I'm looking at Tri-County's points. You're looking pretty good. You're in 4th. You're tied with Ryan Fowler with 177 points. He's 5th. And so Greg Hopkins has 226 in 3rd, so you could overtake him in the next few weeks. Yeah, we could. But, like I said, we try to make it every chance we get, but I think we've missed quite a few this year already from Tri-County. And we did the points thing last year, and I think I finished 2nd in the points at Milton, 2nd in the points at Baker. We missed the points by just a little bit. Owen beat us out just a little bit, but me and my wife, we worked ourselves to death last year trying to stay up with them point things,
man, we just trying to have a good time now, so we just go wherever we feel like going, you know.
I don't blame you, because that's a lot of work to try to do track points, you know.
So we raced 33 nights without a DNF last year, and
wow,
I mean 33
impressive.
straight nights, and that's and it takes a lot of work to do that, you know. And it takes a lot of money, so you got to do pretty good to keep it going.
Ain't no doubt. I agree with that. So since this is a safety podcast, what do you like to do safety-wise to keep you safe in a race car?
So I always wear a neck brace. I wear every piece of safety equipment that I can. I grew up around racing, and I've seen people hurt in every which way you could imagine being hurt. But the biggest thing is I always wear my neck brace. I'm going to have a window net in whatever car I'm in, whether it's required or not. And safety belts, you know, my seat belts. I always keep everything up to date. And really, I just pull them as tight as I can before I go.
That's great, because I see, because I'm in the safety industry with the fuel arrestor, I see all kinds of stuff at the racetrack, and I'll pay attention to stuff, and I see some stuff that is very, very sketchy, and I refer to myself as a safety Nazi. Nobody likes to talk to me because I like push safety, but like I see all kind of stuff, and I'm like, man, if this was if OSHA or if this was an OSHA thing or if this was DOT, be like, no, take it off track. This ain't safe. I see all kind of stuff from welds to whatever.
Yeah. So, one thing that helped me out in that area is I'm a daredevil, you know, and I don't always take the most precautions when I'm on the highway. But I had a good friend of mine get killed in a race car at Onika when they had Onika racing, and everything that went wrong could have been preventable except the initial hit. He got hung up with Larry Bowell, and he hit the wall. Well, he had lead on his car that was not bolted correctly, and it hit him in the back of the seat. His steering wasn't collapsible. He was wearing blue jeans and a jacket. Just on and on, you know. But nobody ever thinks that stuff's going to happen until it happens, you know. And when that happened, I was young, you know. I wasn't very old, but you know, I can remember my dad telling me about it and how stressing me how important it was to make sure that your car was welded right and don't skip on safety, and you know, make sure that you take the extra step. And I do, you know. My wife will tell you that I always make sure that it's as safe as it can possibly be before I climb in it.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good to be that safety conscious, because like I got dozens of videos on our Facebook of fuel fires and stuff, and one that comes to mind, there's a racetrack. I'll have to show it to you sometime. But it's a video I got on there from DeSoto Speedway. You ever heard of DeSoto Speedway?
Yeah.
It's an asphalt racetrack, for those who don't know. I don't know a lot about it other than I follow them on Facebook after I found out about it. But I'm watching this video, and this is from 2015, and this is a pure stock wreck. And there were three cars that were battling each other pretty hard going into the first turn. And then two cars collected each other, and they both wrecked. Well, then here comes this pure stock out in the middle of nowhere, and he doesn't have time to stop. And he rear ends the guy, the first car in the rear end, and he hit him so hard that his fuel cell exploded. And when it exploded, all three cars caught fire. And, you know, it takes a few minutes to get unbuckled and get out of those cars. Well, the first two guys, they finally get unbuckled. Well, the third guy at the very bottom, he's still trapped in his race car. He can't get out. And he finally gets unbuckled, and when he did, his whole car is like a fireball. And he gets out, and he's on fire. And you can see him running down the racetrack, and the safety crews are pulling up. And he runs past the safety truck and just hits the ground and starts rolling. And he is screaming bloody murder. He got like third-degree burns, got sent to the hospital. But they sprayed him down and poured it out. I mean, got the fire out. And you just never know what can happen in a race car. That's why I'm so huge on fuel safety, or just safety in general, because nobody, and especially gloves, Like, wear gloves. I see it all the time. Drivers don't wear gloves, and that's a big no-no.
Well, when the old Wilmington track was still running, if you didn't wear gloves, you'd come back with bloody knuckles. So I wear gloves every time I go.
And you know,
there was some rocks.
so Tim,
there was rocks all over that thing.
I believe it. I miss Wilmington, man. And Tim Sullivan told me one time, which is Daniel's daddy. Tim told me, because me and him were talking about gloves, and a race director I know told me, said, "Man, I wish they'd make these gloves mandatory, because you'd be surprised how many drivers I see without gloves." And I was telling Mr. Tim that, and the number one argument I hear is, "I can't pull my tire out. So I can't feel the steering wheel. I can't do this." Okay, well, when your hand gets burnt, don't come out, Jared. You told me. But like the way Tim explained it was, he said, I can do my gloves and turn my tear off enough to where I can grab my tear off with my gloves, and I ain't got no problems.
Yeah,
and
I don't
like
have
that.
any problems. The biggest thing sometimes is you'll grab too many and you tear too many off. But they sell a thing that goes on the side of your helmet where your tear offs run through, that only one will poke out that prevents you from that. And I run one of those.
Really? That is awesome. What do they call that?
I had to get back with you on that. I can't. Do you remember what it's called?
Okay.
It's like $10. Yeah, it's like $10. It's not very expensive at all, but man, it's a lifesaver.
Wow. Okay. Well, look, that everybody that's listening, share the show while you're listening. Let everybody know you're listening. But also, y'all need to get you one of those. Then you won't have no more complaints about, I can't pull my tail off. I love that idea. Anything safety-wise that'll help drivers, I'm all for it. And that's a really good invention. And $10, I mean, come on, anybody can afford that, you know.
Oh yeah, they're definitely worth having. It bolts right to your tear-off tab, and when you put your tear-offs on, it won't let any more than one come out. And every time you pull it, another one pops out.
Wow.
It's called
I can imagine.
It's called Pulse Easy Tear.
Oh, Pulse Easy Tear. Okay.
Easy Tear.
Okay, well, good. I'm going to find that. I'm going to share it to my Facebook. That is cool.
Yeah.
Pulse Easy Tear. Okay.
Yeah, I think
definitely...
they're $19.99 is what it says.
Okay. Well, hey, that's a good deal then, because if you know, one set will last you a while unless you run a big, enduro race or.
Well, it don't. I mean, you put the tear offs through it, so whenever you put tear offs on it, I mean, it lasts forever till it breaks. You know?
Okay. So the tear offs are separate. Okay, I was thinking they come in a kit.
Yep.
Okay.
No,
okay.
You just
bolt
the thing on there and. But.
Well, heck yeah, that's a great invention. So you got any sponsors or anybody you want to shout out?
Absolutely. Ryan Brown with 38 Tightline Fishing, Discount Towing, Todd Nieheiser, Kale Enterprises, Erosion Control, Pettis Carpet Cleaning, Sister River Retreat with Hank Weeks. He's down here on in Black Creek. He's got a big he's got a fishing camp that you can rent the hotels or the rooms. And if you want a good fishing charter, Ryan Brown's the man you need to talk to. He's it's called 38 Tightline Fishing, and it's on my Facebook page. And you can come down here and he'll carry you for a trip of your lifetime.
That is awesome, because I would hope everybody loves fishing. If you don't like fishing, there's something wrong with you, because that's the ticket right there to go on a nice fishing charter.
Yeah, and he's a very good Christian man. You know, he's a very good friend of mine, a great Christian.
Well, that's great. That's awesome. And that's an even better reason to give him business instead of one of these liberal companies that don't care, So that's great.
Yep.
So anybody in your family or anybody in your race team you want to shout out?
Oh, yeah, my whole family. My whole family's behind me. My wife especially, she stays up with me shoot, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, she's right there with me. She loves it. I think she likes it more than I do, to be honest with you. Sometimes she's pushing me and I don't even want to go, but really her and Todd Nieheiser, man, you wouldn't believe the help that he's given me, knowledge, and anytime that I have a problem, man, I can call him any time of the night. He was just in Virginia and Pennsylvania racing last week, and I was having a problem with the car, and he took time out of his racing just to talk to me about mine, and you wouldn't believe he's just an unbelievably nice guy. My sister and her husband, Robbie and Elizabeth, they're there behind me all the time, and they're just great to have around.
That's awesome, and Todd, he's won a lot of races. And then of course he's got the towing business. So if you need any towing done, Todd's your man, because he sponsors Deep South, and I know he sponsors a lot of these other tracks and drivers. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a good man. He kind of he's when I first met him, I didn't know really what to think about him. But man, when you get to know him, you can't help but love him. He's just a unbelievably good-hearted guy. He'd give you the shirt off his back, and anybody that knows him will tell you the same thing. And but yeah, he's very successful at what he does, and man, I try to listen to everything he tells me.
Because when I first met him, I was taking pictures at Deep South Speedway. This has been several years ago, and this is when I first got my photography camera. And I was out there, and I met him, and I got his picture by his car, and that was the first time I'd ever heard of him. And he's like, yeah, I race up north, and he had a 383 big block modified, I believe it was. And he went out there, and he was the only one at the track that had one. It was a practice day. It was a season opener practice, and he was out there. And boy, howdy, I ain't never seen one. That was the first time I've ever seen one. The only time I've ever seen one of them cars in person. And he smoked everybody there in that practice. I ain't never seen a car fly like that. And he's like, yeah, they race them up north. They're real big up north. I said, man, that thing makes some power.
That's what he grew up racing, was them modifieds like that. And I'll tell you another guy, man, that's really helped me in this modified racing, and it's the reason why I drive one now, because I wasn't going to drive one. But he called me one day, and he said, man, I got a car and we can put together. I'd like for you to come down here and drive it. And so we did, man. We would get up. So I live in Panama City, and I would drive to Milton, Florida every day, and we would put this car together. I'd go to work.
Wow.
I'd go to work, and I'd come home, 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and me and my wife, we would drive to Milton, and we'd work a couple hours on this car till we finally got it finished. And he's been a big influence in my modified racing, and that's Jesse Barnhill. He's a really good guy. He's gave me more than I deserve, probably, and he's another one. He's gonna race you wholeheartedly. He ain't gonna give you nothing.
I tell you what, I love his color scheme on his car. That electric green color scheme, that just pops.
I think he's that's Jason. I'm talking about Jesse. It's Owen's dad.
Oh, okay.
And Jason, he's helped me a lot too. Jason has, but
okay.
They're like family to me. He's been in my life a long time, and they're really good people. They're really down to earth, and they love racing as much as we do, if not more.
Yeah, because I believe they don't miss a race. Because every race that I've ever seen, they've never missed a race that I know of.
No, sir. They're there every time the doors is open, if they can be.
Well, man, I'm so glad you...
Owen went to prom last year, and he was going to prom, and I think he missed prom, his last senior prom, to come racing.
That is rated R for redneck, but that is also dedication to racing.
Yes, sir.
I like that. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, and if you'd be interested, would you like to leave with a prayer?
Yeah, I'll leave with a prayer.
Okay.
Lord God, we thank you so much for this day and the many blessings that you give us, Lord. we love you, and we thank you for the family that we have in racing, Lord, and we pray that you'd keep them all safe. I pray that this podcast would touch somebody's heart, Lord, and if they need help, I pray that they'd reach out. And, Lord, I pray that you just keep us all safe in racing this weekend. I pray that you keep the rain away, and I thank you for Jared and everything that he does, Lord, and we love you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.